Hello, welcome to Morning Call, your tech news for the day. Yes, it's technically still morning at the moment. I'm sorry for being late. My hay fever is just killing me this morning. I feel like I've been run over by a truck or a Tesla or something. Nose isn't working, can't think, can't move, everything hurts. Well, everything hurts because I was running yesterday, which, if you're taking hay fever medication and can't breathe, also is. Anyway, let's stop complaining and let's get into the tech news today. Surprisingly, kicking off with the trade wars. It seems that Cisco's worried. They are still making a lot of money. So they had a growth of 11% in the fourth quarter. I think last year. I think these are the numbers from the fourth quarter. Yeah. No, it's the business year. Fourth quarter of the business year 2019. Who knows when that is? I don't give a damn. Anyway, they're still making money, but they're cautioning. They're saying the global economy is slowing down, and also that trade war with China will probably net them less revenue going forward. So, interestingly, also US companies who export things seem to be impacted by Trump's policies here. And then, kind of tangentially connected, the Wall Street Journal published a story which is highly questionable, I think, and the Register did a great job of basically doing a hit piece. So the Wall Street Journal story is Huawei technicians helped African governments spy on political opponents. And I just want to read some stuff from the Register story. Register says world recalls in horror as smartphone maker accused of helping government snoops read encrypted text, track device whereabouts. In a report that has left lawmakers across the globe reeling, the Wall Street Journal on Wednesday claimed a smartphone maker helped government officials in Uganda access encrypted texts on a handset used by one of its own citizens and track the device's whereabouts. We think you will agree virtually unheard of that a manufacturer of telecommunications gear would respond to a request from a country's intelligence services. I think that is tongue-in-cheek there. It strongly implies that there is some kind of law that gives Uganda snoops the power to demand and obtain a target's personal communications. Worse, it would appear that this surveillance was not made public, making the WSJ's efforts to bring the truth to the world that much more impressive. Still tongue-in-cheek. What is remarkable is that the WSJ's investigative team was able to glean this information in a country in which it has but a single reporter. Despite the nation's small impact on the world or on US interests, the Wall Street Journal has seemingly taken an intense interest in Ugandan affairs, covering events in the African nation no less than 4 times the past year. Compare that to, say, Hong Kong, which the WSJ has written 4 stories about in the last 4 hours, or Mexico, which has had 3 dedicated stories in the past week. So they're talking about the story, police records. It's absolutely extraordinary that Uganda, a sovereign government, would seek to probe one of its own citizens. That a phone maker would assist in that effort is nothing sort of staggering. This whole register story is just dripping with irony and sarcasm. It's about some guy, and they spied on his phone. For reasons that are unclear, however, the WSJ story did not lead with the fact that Uganda has put a Washington-friendly politician under surveillance. Instead, the main thrust of the piece was, for some reason, focused almost entirely on the smartphone maker, whose engineers helped the probe. In this case, it was allegedly the Chinese manufacturer Huawei. It is worth noting that the engineers were, as the WSJ claims, brought in to assist members of Uganda's cybersecurity team who were trying and failing to use Israeli-made spyware, I think we know what company that is from, to extract WhatsApp group messages from Wine's phone. That's the guy they spied on. The techies were apparently drafted in to get the surveillance tools to work. The article didn't spend much time digging into why an Israeli outfit had handed directly or indirectly snooping software to the Ugandan government, nor was it very interested in the political repercussions with the African nation, but it was very interested in claiming that the phone enterprise in this case was Huawei. That's Huawei! There's no evidence that Huawei engineers provided any information on Wine or to anyone other than Ugandan authorities, but still, Huawei is based in China, even if its engineers in this case weren't, and the phone wasn't, and the person being tracked wasn't either. Nonetheless, Huawei is a Chinese company! Huawei denies any of this took place. Yeah. The fact Huawei allegedly acceded to the demands of the Ugandan government to track a specific phone using someone else's software is not in any way comparable to the long-standing and absolutely above-board and entirely fair systems that exist in the US, UK, and Australia to do more or less the same thing. It's also, I just have to keep reading this because this is so well written. Who was this? So this is Kian McCarthy for the Register. It is also worth noting that it is horrifying that Huawei engineers helped locate this, in all caps of course always, helped locate a specific mobile phone for the Ugandan government, whereas in the US, you just have to be a bounty hunter to access such information. And yeah. But that small note, story ends with, but that small side note is not thought to have had any impact on the Wall Street Journal's extraordinary piece of investigative journalism published this week. I just like that. It's very, very interesting that the Wall Street Journal would write such a story. Not saying that I'm not implying that they collude with the U.S. government in this, in the whole anti-Huawei thing, but I think it just gets readers. I mean, there doesn't have to be a conspiracy right there. They just get readers. It generates outrage, like here on the Register, and then they get even more readers. So yeah, just keep that in mind next time you read the Wall Street Journal, beacon of international journalism. As they always kind of label themselves. In the stories that lots of companies around the world that sell smart assistants and devices where, basically the AI listens to your voice commands and then does something. We had lots of revelations that it's actually like people, employees of them, like contractors, often listening to these samples because the AI can't figure out what's being said. Now, mysteriously, Microsoft has just changed their terms of service and their data protection guidelines to mention that Cortana and Skype, which provide like translation services, that in those cases people will listen to that. And they're saying that it's just normal because we need to improve everything. And there's there, we work with this private data, and that also means there is not only automated but also manual in brackets human data processing. They actually say, which is people are listening to that. I wonder why Microsoft would put that just now in their terms of service. It's almost as if people are currently just en masse waking up to the fact that shit like that's happening. If you're on Facebook, you might get Wish ads. Wish.com is like this weird marketplace. They have this, I don't know, it's in English, but they're obviously Chinese, and they have these weirdly translated, really haphazardly translated stuff in German. And they sell you all this crap. And, I just this week, I always get these ads. I never bought anything from them. Just this week, I got like ads for like magic cards, like really rare magic cards, like really cheap. So they're obviously counterfeit. I mean, I don't even have to order them to tell you that they're counterfeit. But they have stuff like that. They're known for like selling directly out of China, which means your stuff takes a long time to get there. Often you have import duties and tax you have to pay. And that just like they're very cheap items, but all of that stuff will just put the price up massively. So I've always kept my distance from this. Now the German, there's like consumer watchdogs in Germany. We call them Verbraucherzentralen. Ja, diese Verbraucherzentralen are looking into Wish because basically it turns out they are banning people's accounts. So they're not really. So what happens is. Apparently, if people return items, they will lock your account, which means you can still buy stuff. You can just not return it or use any of the customer service. Complain about it, return it, say that you haven't received the package, stuff like that. Basically, there are different sellers on Wish as far as I can tell. As I said, I've never used it, but like you can't basically complain about the seller and stuff. And these consumer advocate outfits in Germany here are saying that basically they're doing that, and then locking down the customer service stuff in your account, saying that you've returned too many items. Now these Verbraucherzentralen are very well known in Germany, and they get lots of reports from consumers. So if they say this, when they come out, they usually have a really good data, base on which to corroborate their claims, because just lots of people go to them and complain. Sorry, my nose is it's itchy. Anyway, so they usually have really good data, and they're basically saying there's lots of people who've just returned one thing, and then their account got locked in that way. My God, my nose. I am really sorry. Maybe coffee will fix it. So they're basically saying they locked their accounts then, and that is of course something that in Germany or generally in Europe companies can't really do, because we have these laws here that if you buy something online, part of protection of that, because you can't see the actual it's not like in a store. You can't see the actual item. You will only get the item once you've already bought it. So part of the laws they made very early on about this e-commerce stuff is that part of this special way of having a contract when you buy it online, when you pay before you get it, and you can't inspect the goods beforehand, is that there is a 14-day no questions asked return policy. So anything you buy online, say in Germany, you are allowed to return within 14 days without even telling them a reason why. And that is just law. So for them to take away your your ability to return stuff or to complain that like the whole fact that they complain that you returned many things is irrelevant because you are by law allowed to return anything you want. So this is really questionable. It's legally very questionable, and I wouldn't be surprised if these consumer watchdogs, often the Verbraucherzentralen, they will, if it gets worse, they will talk to companies affected, and if it gets really bad, they will just, they have lawyers on staff, and they will actually start lawsuits on behalf of consumers, which is a great thing. And they're saying here, I mean, there are cases where people, because of the long shipping times from China, got so they bought something on invoice and then got basically emails like pay the invoice now before they even got the product, which is just asinine. That is just weird. And Wish is actually saying, hey, if we lock down your account like this, the thing you need to do is you need to buy more stuff to show to us that you're a trustworthy consumer. But the thing is, if they lock down your account in that way and you have any pending orders, you can't interact with them. Like you can't even you can't cancel orders, you can't complain that they never arrived, you can't complain that they're sending you shitty products that were different from what was advertised. And also, aside from all of this, Verbraucherzentralen, especially North Rhine-Westphalia, we have ones in every federal state, and they are often certain topics just land with one of these. So I know that the one in North Rhine-Westphalia also does the stuff about the post office in Germany. They have a special website for that and kind of stuff like that. Anyway, so they're investigating this, and I hope they'll get they'll just give him a good kicking, because I mean the other thing they were saying is there's lots of stuff where people just get shitty products, like the wrong sizes, wrong products, products just of
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
7 months. Yeah, baby.
Hey, Mike. 7 months. Thank you for resubscribing. You're keeping this channel alive single-handedly. You have a silver badge. I think I need a new badge. I think I need to check if I actually made a gold badge. Maybe you need maybe I need to come up with another 6-gun medal for that. Maybe you need another medal, like a Twitch achievement medal or something. I'll think about something. Anyway, thanks for that. So that is just based on this. Don't buy anything at Wish is the only thing I can say. I can never have too many medals. Indeed, it's like the Soviet Union, right? Medals is what we live for. Speaking of questionable consumer things, last story here today. Apple, you might have heard of this. Apple is basically cracking down on repair centers that are not authorized by Apple. And for a while, if you're on an iPhone and you go just to a normal repair shop that's not connected with Apple, and you replace your battery, which is hard to do in an iPhone. I mean, it's built in. Then iOS has these battery health features, and it will turn that off, and it will basically tell you this is not genuine battery. Like, this battery wasn't replaced by Apple. So mine, if you look at mine's currently at 85%. Battery health from when I bought the phone, which is almost 2 years now. And you get all these. That's actually quite a good feature. Getting notification there. You get these battery statistics, like what's using. I mean, Android has that too. But I've always, I think I prefer the Apple way of doing this. It's pretty cool. So last 24 hours, last 10 days. Obviously for me, it's all Twitter. It's 51% Twitter. Just due to my job, pretty much. But they will turn that off, and they will say it's not a genuine battery. Now, journalists have asked Apple about this, and Apple has now given a statement, and they're basically saying this is all for the safety of consumers. Last year, we introduced a new feature to notify customers if we were unable to verify that a new genuine battery was installed by a certified technician following Apple repair processes. This information is there to help protect our customers from damaged or poor quality or used batteries, which can lead to, say, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's true. It can lead to safety issues, but on another reason, I mean, the consumer knows that he did this. It's not like he went to a repair shop and then got duped. In most cases, they're saying they have 1,800 authorized service providers around the country, but, they're really expensive. That's the US, but, like, they're, people are doing this for other reasons. And, yes, you could say Apple's doing that for the consumer. It's good, but you could also cynically assume that Apple's doing it for its own good because they're making money when they're replacing a battery. Anyway, just a little heads up about that. I thought that was a bit shitty, but Apple doing shitty things is just Apple being Apple. Still, fucking nice phone hardware. Gotta give them that. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll be back tomorrow, last day of the week, for my tech news here, and I hope a bit earlier tomorrow. And a bit fitter generally. Man, I really love the summer. I love the summer weather, but this hay fever has just been killing me in the last few weeks. So when autumn comes, at least that'll get better. Anyway, have a nice day at work, whatever you're doing. Maybe you're at home, maybe you're not at work. Whatever you're doing, just stay safe. Do something that makes you happy. And don't buy from wish.com. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.